Welcome back. It's been a couple of days since I've done one of these videos. I'm sorry. Just been feeling under the weather. Kind of happens when you've got a chronic illness. Things happen. You don't feel well. And believe me, you wouldn't want me in front of this camera when I don't feel well. Oh, but having the last couple of days, I've been able to think about what do I want to do next? What video do I want to produce? And I was reminded of something. About 2 years ago, I decided to write a book. It was going to be called Teacher Mom. And the book was going to have all these little stories, and each chapter would be a different story with a student or a friend. And the whole basis of the book is that my teaching approach is the same as I have with being a mom. I nurture people. It's what I do with everyone. I just love you. That's what I do. I love you, and I make sure that when you leave me, you feel good about yourself, right? So my son and I were talking on the way home from school, and he's like, write a book about that, Mom. Write a book and tell people how you teach. Now, I'm nothing special, but I figured, why not? Well, unfortunately, life does what life does, and my brain kind of got a little worse. So now I can't really sit down and write prolonged sessions. My brain gets all kinds of jumbled some days. It just happens when your brain's being squeezed to death. So I didn't get the book done. I haven't even started it. I've got information compiled, but that's pretty much it. I really like to tell these stories. So I'm going to use the phrase that everybody has been using for 2020, and seems like going into 2021, the same word. I'm going to pivot. Pivot. I now have this YouTube channel. Why can't I tell the stories on here, right? Why can't I go through that? So I sent out another call on social media. I said, hey, I know 2 years ago you guys sent me some things. If you haven't already, send me a memory. Tell me what you think. So I had, within 5 minutes, at least 5 more stories. I'm going to share a couple of them with you tonight. The first one I want to talk to you about is being an outcast. It's how I take outcasts and I make them feel like they are the greatest thing. I was an outcast when I was a kid. I was goth before goth had Hot Topic. Okay? So I was this little weirdo kid into spooky things. Loved me some Edgar Allan Poe. I still love me some Edgar Allan Poe. But I was weird. And I really didn't have a teacher that I connected to at the high school that I went to. They were pretty normal teachers, and I wasn't a normal kid. So I didn't feel comfortable with any of them. Now, that's not to say that I didn't have teachers that tried to connect with me. I did. I have teachers that tried to connect with me, but they were connecting with me on their terms, not mine, and weren't validating me and who I thought I was. So I really didn't feel connected to those teachers. Now, I did have 2 drama teachers, Miss Eleanor Zorsky, who we started a protest for because she was wrongly fired. It will still to this day say that. And then Mr. Tex Norman. He was my drama teacher in Florida. And both of them were amazing people. Ms. Zorsky allowed me to understand that I needed to have confidence in my abilities. She saw that I was a show person before I knew it. It made me audition. Ended up being Tatiana. Never having been in a play before, I ended up getting the lead role of Tatiana in Midsummer Night's Dream at the age of 14. And the Queen of Fairies is long-winded. But I learned. She helped me learn to have confidence in my abilities. And Mr. Norman, he just helped me learn that if I wanted to do something, I could, like sing. I've never been very musical. And he taught me that I could sing. So for both of them, I'm very, very thankful. But as far as having a teacher that connected to me, there really wasn't any. And so when I went into teaching, I decided that that's not how it was going to be for where I was. That I was going to call all the weirdos to my classroom, right? That's my classroom was going to be the safe spot. Not just for my little outcast and weirdos, though. It was going to be a safe spot for everyone. Everyone. If you're having a bad day, come see Mama M. Come see Mama M. I'll give you a hug, give you a fruit juice. Here's a snack. Sit down, have a good cry. Now let's get over it, right? That's what I wanted. And that's what I have. So the story that I'm going to tell you is actually from one of my former students. Her name is Whitney. And Whitney is like me in high school. Little goth baby, obsessed with spooky things, loves serial killers, right? Which, don't even get me started how many people absolutely hate that one, right? So she had not really been comfortable in her own skin by the time I got to her. She knew she liked things. She knew she liked writing. She was, still is, she's a beautiful writer. Beautiful writer. And she would come up to me and she was like, I'm writing this book. It's about blah, 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 blah. And I'm studying blah, 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 blah. And this is where I'm going to go with it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, so when is it going to be done? When is it going to be done? Every time she would tell me about her book, I was genuinely excited. I like to read horror. I couldn't wait to read a new horror book, right? And because I was genuinely excited, it taught her that it was okay to be her. It was okay to enjoy the things that she enjoyed. That somebody else was going to enjoy them too. So that's what she wrote me this afternoon. So she was thanking me for allowing her to learn that in my classroom. Well, Whitney, thank you. Thank you and all my other little weirdos that I kind of collected over the years. I appreciate you guys. I was healing myself with you. When you guys would feel that safety, I was creating the safety that I didn't have. So by creating it for you, I was able to heal part of me. So I appreciate that. I appreciate it more than you'll ever understand. Now, sometimes being a teacher, though, it's really hard. And some of the stories that I share with students, parts of their lives that I share with them, it's not rainbows and puppies. One of my students that reached out to me today, and I'm not going to mention her by her name, her life was not rainbows and puppies at the time. I had to make several phone calls on her behalf and cried myself to sleep more times than she knows. That child was going through so much in her life. And no matter what, I was there for her. I wanted to be there for her. I wanted her to see that somebody believed in her. Because up until that point, nobody had. Or at least that's how she felt. Now, do I know for a fact what was going on in the home? No. But I know the reaction of the child to what was going on in the home. And it wasn't a healthy reaction. So I cried myself to sleep over her so many times. So many times. And when she'd come to me crying because of something that was going on in her life, and she's a teenage girl, so she also had boy trouble and gossiping people and all kinds of things. Like, if it could go wrong, it was going wrong in her life, right? And I kept telling her, just find one thing that you're happy for today. What's the one thing you're positive for? Right? And I allowed her to be in my room and to have that safe spot to be able to break down. She'd come to my room if she was having a bad day and like, you just need some time? Yes, ma'am. Go to the closet. Because in my room I have these two really large, I have a great room, two really large closets, and the kids often when they're not doing well. Miss them, can I just be there for about 5 minutes? If you need time by yourself, you can go in there. We call them the book room more than the closet because it's honestly about as big as the room I'm sitting in right now, and it's got our books. So they would go to the book room and they'd sit, and she'd do that quite often. And I would go in there when it's time for her to go into her next class, let her know. For her, the note that I got from her this afternoon, she was thanking me for being her family. Sometimes that's all I needed to be. Sometimes all I needed to be is that mom. That mom that says, it's okay, I love you unconditionally. Because that's what these kids are starving for. They just want to be loved unconditionally. So sometimes that's all I am. I'm just that person that sits there and goes, it's okay. You get to be you. You get to admit you're having a crappy life. But I'm also that person that's going to be there and try to get you out of it. Now, did we get the girl eventually out of that situation? Yes. Yes, we did get her eventually out of that situation. And is she better off today than she was? Yes. Absolutely, yes. But that doesn't make that situation not have completely sucked, right? But she's thankful that I was in her life at that time. And I'm thankful that I was in her life at that time. Because how incredibly sad is it to go through something hurtful and have no one? So that's what I do. In my classroom, even more so than curriculum, it's relationships. It's feeding those children what they need to be fed in order to go on to the next step with confidence and success. And sometimes feeding the children is legitimately just feeding the children. Teenagers get hungry a lot. That's part of the thing that I hate about being an e-learning teacher. Now, I know that as an e-learning teacher, it's safer for me. I am chronically ill. But I can't tell you how much I miss being with those babies. I miss seeing their faces. I miss them telling me about some, what as an adult we would consider trivial fact of their day. I miss that. You know? I'm also that teacher in the school that if the kid is having a panic attack, if the kid is completely melting down, I'm the teacher that most people send that kid to. Why? Because I can calm them. I'm the mom. I can look at them and go, let's breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. No, don't try to talk, right? I'm good with that. So I miss being at campus because I also fear that I don't know who's taking my place while I'm off campus. I really hope somebody is. I really hope somebody is calling all the weirdos in, calling all the children who need the love. Because that's it. That's all they need, guys. Until next time, when I get to tell another story. And Lydia, we're going to talk about reclaimed dirt, okay? Next video, reclaimed dirt. Watch it. Catch and release. Okay. She's gonna kill me, y'all. She's gonna kill me. But until next time, be happy, be safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, stay away from people. They're gross. I love you with all my heart.